Actually, 2014, the morning of Commonwealth Games, the morning of like the individual race, I woke up and I kind of decided just out of the blue, I was like, this is my last race. I don't know, I had this feeling and I can't describe it. I've never had such a strong feeling about something like that before. And I told Craig, and kind of from that point on, that feeling never really shook me. And I knew that Rio was something I wanted to keep going towards. So I kept moving in that direction, even though in my heart I knew that this is probably it. And I thought, let's keep going and see if things have changed. But that feeling never really left. I know that there's more to give, but from a perspective of things that I would like to do with my life outside of triathlon, and the cost and time commitment to do the sport at the highest level, I know that I could do it physically. I know I could be better, but I just don't know. I didn't think I was ready to continue going down that road. So it wasn't an easy decision, but I think it was the right decision. Yeah, I'd like to join the Ontario Provincial Police. It's been a goal of mine, something I've been thinking of for the last 4 or 5 years at least. And so I'm just starting the process of going through that. And yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. As an athlete, you're an extremely selfish, you're in an extremely selfish position. In order to be successful, you have to basically live like a hermit. You can't spend time with friends, you can't spend time with family. You're living in a bag around the world, and that's okay, because you know that that's what it takes. But you don't get to give back in any way possible, and that always kind of rubbed me wrong. And so by joining the police and getting to work in the community and I like to work in a small town and kind of help out in that way, the OPP would be a great fit for me in that sense, and I'd actually get to give back instead of always being an athlete kind of taking. So yeah, I think I just got to have so many people pay it forward for me that I'd like to do the same now. The big thing for me is just keeping my athletes healthy. That's my #1 goal. So you have health, consistency, specificity, and then performance. And that's the order. And if you skip a step along the way, you're going to run into trouble. But it all starts with health. So I want my athletes to be healthy, and that's my #1 philosophy: never sacrifice health for performance, because you won't get performance in the long run. From a workout standpoint, I'm all about keeping it simple and just building threshold capacity and aerobic capacity. I'm a big fan of short rests because I find that athletes, it's really easy to get fit for 1, 2, 3 minute intervals. And as an athlete who is decently good at those kinds of like high power short sets, even if we were doing a lot of them, I was really good at faking it. And as an athlete, you don't want to be faking it, because when you race and you go get crushed, you're like, well, the training didn't reflect what happened in the race. So as I got older, I started asking coaches for sets. We still did really high intensity stuff with lots of rest, but I started asking for more sets where we go short rests to simulate the fact that when you race, there's no rest. So tempos, and you might, some of the athletes I coach right now, they might, almost everything they get is like a minute rest. So if they're doing 35 minutes of hard running, they might, let's say it's, 5 by 7 minutes. Like each interval after it, they might only get a minute rest. It might be less, because I want them to learn how to run within themselves, not go out too hard, not fade. But yeah, I think that making sure the athletes understand and just building threshold, which is what we really need to have when we race triathlon, is the most important thing. Yeah, I think I'd like to stay in sport from the perspective of seeing other people do well and cheering them on. We were talking just before the interview about whether or not I follow triathlon a lot anymore, and the answer is really kind of no. I follow my friends in the sport, and I cheer their success on. And to me, that's rewarding. I get so much joy, not only from, and this was when I was an athlete too, I didn't get a ton of joy. I got a lot of joy from my own performance and that feeling of accomplishment, but I also got a lot of that from seeing a teammate perform well. Because you see they work just as hard as you do, and just because they don't get the performance doesn't mean that they're not any less deserving. So that's one way I'm going to do it, and then the other way is just, you know, love of being outside and being active and being involved in the community. I'm involved pretty heavily in the running community in Hamilton right now, and it's a lot of fun just being at the runner's den in the store, seeing people, you know, come in, help them out, you know, help them take the next step with their running. So
I think that's great. Thank you, Andrew.
thanks for having me.